Welcome, dear friends, into Guide to Reads, where every page is not just words on paper but a window into a world of wisdom. Here, together, we pause, we reflect, and we walk the hidden paths that books lay before us. Tonight, or perhaps today, wherever you are listening, let me ask you, have you ever believed that talent is something reserved for the chosen few? That some are simply born with a gift, while others are left outside the gates of mastery? Daniel Coyle invites us to rethink this illusion. He tells us talent is not a gift wrapped in mystery. It is a craft, a fire, a spark waiting to be lit in each of us. So close your eyes for a moment and picture this: a child, hands trembling, struggling with the strings of a violin. The sound is cracked, hesitant, almost painful. Yet within that awkward melody lies a seed, the seed of beauty, of mastery. Not because the child was born with magic in their veins, but because each stumble, each broken note, is part of the path toward greatness. This is the heartbeat of the little book of talent. 52 sparks, small acts, humble lessons, that, if repeated, grow into the music of mastery. And here in this episode, we won't just list them. No, we'll journey through them together, as if walking down quiet paths of discovery. Each step, each reflection, a reminder that talent is not bestowed from above. It is built patiently, deliberately from within. So, are you ready? Let us begin. Chapter 1. Beginning the Journey. Before a mountain is climbed, the first step must be taken. Before mastery blossoms, there must be the courage to fumble, to stumble, to reach into the unknown with trembling hands. Picture this: a painter, frozen before a white canvas, brush quivering between her fingers. She hesitates, afraid of the first mark. Yet, deep within, a whisper rises. Begin. And that whisper is the heartbeat of every journey toward greatness. Daniel Coyle, in the Little Book of Talent, tells us talent is not a gift delivered from the heavens. It is a landscape, wide, untamed, that we explore, one uncertain step at a time. And the first steps, though humble, carry the weight of truth. The first lesson: always begin small. Excellence does not arrive with a thunderclap. It grows quietly, in small, deliberate motions. 5 minutes a day, repeated, can shape a lifetime of mastery. The violinist does not leap to symphonies. She begins with scales, one fragile note at a time. And so it is with us. A single sentence written, a single push-up, a single moment of focus. Every spark begins small. The second lesson: practice in chunks. Skill is not forged in endless hours of distraction, but in sharp bursts of fire. 15 minutes of deep, mindful practice outweighs 3 hours of drifting effort. Picture a sprinter. Dash, stop, correct, dash again. Each burst sharpens the memory. Each pause seals the lesson. This is how excellence embeds itself into our very bones. The third lesson: embrace your mistakes. The wrong note, the stumble, the failure. They are not enemies, but teachers. Each error is feedback, a signpost pointing the way. The pianist who misses a key does not despair. She listens, adjusts, tries again. Mistakes are not the end of the journey. They are the road itself. The fourth lesson: copy the best, then make it your own. Every master was once an imitator. Watch the skilled hand mirror the gesture, trace the rhythm. Imitation is the seed, but in time the seed grows into a tree of unique expression. What begins as borrowed soon becomes yours alone, your voice, your art, your signature. And so, in these first sparks, we discover a hidden truth. Talent is not magic. It is humble, deliberate, patient. It begins with acts so small the world may not notice, but those acts, repeated, carry the power to change everything. Remember the painter hesitating before her canvas. Remember the violinist struggling through broken notes. Remember the sprinter, breathless, running again and again. Every master was once a beginner. And so we take our first step together. Small, trembling perhaps, but alive with possibility. For it is at the beginning where the spark is struck, and every great fire starts with a single flame. Chapter 2. Deep Practice. We've taken our first steps on the path of talent, and now the road becomes steeper. For skill is not found in comfort. No, it is carved in the quiet, in the moments when the mind strains and the body trembles. Picture a young gymnast, sweat dripping, muscles shaking, repeating the same move for the 100th time. Each fall feels heavy, each attempt imperfect. Yet, within that struggle, something miraculous begins to unfold. The body starts to remember, the mind starts to see. This is the essence of deep practice, that deliberate, almost sacred conversation between effort and learning. Daniel Coyle teaches us, talent is a landscape, and deep practice is the plow that shapes it. The first truth, break skills into chunks. The mountain is never conquered in one leap. A climber takes it step by step, just as the basketball player masters dribbling before shooting, just as the writer shapes a single sentence before building a chapter. Each small piece is a stone in the foundation of mastery. Precision grows in these tiny victories, and each one compounds into strength. The second truth, slow down to speed up. Rushing blinds us. The pianist who races through scales will never hear the hidden flaws between the notes. The chef who hurries with the knife will never master its rhythm. By slowing down, we give the brain the gift of clarity, and only then can speed be born naturally out of understanding. The third truth, feel the edges of mistakes. In deep practice, mistakes are not shadows to be feared. They are lanterns. The gymnast's stumble teaches balance. The writer's misspelling sharpens awareness. Each error reveals the map of improvement, if only we lean into it with patience instead of running away. The fourth truth, repetition with purpose. Mindless repetition is like tapping on stone without aim. But purposeful repetition is the sculptor's chisel, each stroke deliberate, each strike refining. When we practice with attention, effort transforms into instinct, and labor into flow. Deep practice is a paradox. It is tiring, yes, but it frees us, it frustrates us, yet it teaches joy. It is uncomfortable, yet it is the doorway to mastery. Step back with me for a moment. See the gymnast, the pianist, the sculptor. Each one living in that friction between effort and attention. And notice this truth. Greatness is not a sudden spark of genius. It is quiet, persistent shaping, the slow transformation of the impossible into the inevitable. So, as we continue this journey, let us not fear the struggle. Let us welcome it. Every mistake, every repetition, every slow, deliberate effort. For it is in the grind, in the deep practice, that not only skills are born, but souls are shaped. Chapter 3, Igniting Passion. We've taken our first steps, we've wrestled with the grind of deep practice, and now, we arrive at the flame. For skill without desire is like a fire without fuel. It flickers, fades, and dies. To truly grow, we must first learn to light the spark within. Picture a young writer sitting before a blank page. Her hands tremble, her heart races. What brings her back to that page again and again? Not obligation, not discipline alone, but something warmer, quieter, the fire of curiosity, the thrill of discovery, the joy of creating. Daniel Coyle reminds us, passion is the engine of talent. Without it, effort is hollow. With it, even the smallest act shines with meaning. The first flame, follow curiosity. Curiosity is the compass of learning. It whispers why, and what if, and it leads us down paths we never expected. The violinist chasing a melody she's never heard before. The coder intrigued by a strange algorithm. Each step guided not by duty but by wonder. If we dare to honor our questions, curiosity will light the way. The second flame, love the process, not just the result. So many chase trophies, applause, recognition. But the real treasure is not found at the finish line. It is hidden in the journey. In the calluses on your fingers, in the shaky first steps, in the near misses that shape resilience. Passion thrives when we delight in the process itself, when effort becomes its own reward. The third flame, embrace playfulness. Great learners play. They experiment, improvise, risk failure with a smile. A dancer letting the music move her freely. A chef daring an unusual spice. These playful moments are not distractions, they are fuel. They cultivate flexibility, creativity, and joy. Passion grows where the heart is free to explore. The fourth flame, seek emotional anchors. We remember what stirs our hearts. The painter recalling a sunset. The athlete chasing a childhood dream. the speaker reliving the spark of inspiration. When we tie our practice to emotion, it ceases to be routine. Repetition becomes devotion. Practice becomes ritual. Skill becomes part of who we are. And so, igniting passion is not about forcing excitement, but about preparing the soil, making room for desire to bloom, grow, and sustain us. Look again at the young writer returning to her page. The musician returning to her scales. What sustains them is not raw discipline. It is fire. For talent without passion is lifeless, and passion without direction scatters. But when curiosity, love of the process, playfulness, and emotional anchors come together, a spark becomes an enduring flame. So let us kindle our own sparks. Let us honor our curiosity. Let us embrace the joy in practice, for in that fire our skills find life and our hearts their purpose. Chapter 4. Mastering Feedback. So far, we've taken our first steps, embraced the struggle of deep practice, and even kindled the spark of passion. But here, in this chapter, we meet something harder. Something that tests our pride, our patience, and sometimes even our courage. Feedback. Because no one reaches mastery in isolation. Every skill, every craft, carries the fingerprints of those who guide us, correct us, and challenge us along the way. Picture a young athlete meeting her coach at dawn. Every stance, every motion, every stumble is watched. At first, the words feel sharp, almost unbearable. But day by day, correction becomes clarity. What once stung begins to shape muscle, mind, and spirit. Daniel Coyle reminds us, feedback is not an obstacle to pride. It is the scaffold upon which excellence is built. Lesson 1. Seek the eyes of the expert. The path of learning is clearer when lit by those who have already walked it. A sculptor needs a mentor to see the subtle flaws invisible to their own eye. In the same way, we need masters, not to carry us, but to help us see what we cannot yet see. Lesson 2. Embrace critique as a gift. Yes, feedback stings, but sting is not the same as harm. Coyle tells us, those willing to give us honest critique are allies, not enemies. That sharp comment, that firm correction, that repeated suggestion, they are not attacks, but invitations to grow. Lesson 3. Listen to the voice within. Guidance doesn't always come from the outside. The most powerful teacher is sometimes our own awareness. The musician who notices the tension in her fingers. The writer who senses a phrase doesn't quite sing. When we pause, reflect, and listen deeply, our inner voice becomes part of the feedback loop. Lesson 4. Turn feedback into action. Advice alone changes nothing. Growth happens when we take that correction and move with it. The gymnast tweaks her routine. The coder rewrites a stubborn line. The painter redraws a stroke. Each adjustment transforms feedback into mastery. So what do we see? That mastery is not a solo journey, but a dialogue. Between mentor and student, between self and world. It requires humility to listen, courage to accept, and discipline to act. And if we can do this, if we remain open to correction, eager to learn, ready to apply, then every piece of feedback becomes a stepping stone. Not just toward better skills, but toward becoming our best selves. Chapter 5. Sustaining Growth. So far, we've taken our first steps, embraced the grind of deep practice, sparked passion, and learned to welcome feedback. But now comes the harder question. How do we keep going? How do we not just climb the mountain, but keep walking when the applause fades, when the spark feels small, when the journey stretches on? Because talent isn't just about starting strong, it's about staying steady. Like a garden, it doesn't bloom from a single burst of rain. It thrives through daily care, through sunlight, patience, and tending. Imagine a young musician returning to her practice room every day. No audience, no spotlight. Just her instrument, and the quiet rhythm of effort. She isn't practicing for applause anymore. She's practicing because the act itself has become part of who she is. This is what Daniel Coyle calls us to remember. Talent is not a finish line. It's a lifelong path of growth and refinement. Lesson 1. Build habits that support practice. Consistency is the secret nobody wants to hear because it isn't glamorous, but it's the truth. 5 minutes a day, sketching, coding, meditating, stretching. builds more than hours of random effort. Habits turn practice into identity. The master isn't someone who practices occasionally. They're someone whose life breathes practice. Lesson 2. Shape your environment. Here's the underrated part. Your surroundings often decide for you. A clear desk, an inviting studio, a supportive circle of people. These aren't luxuries, they're catalysts. A library full of books whispers you toward curiosity. A gym with friends waiting pulls you into discipline. You become the product of the space you live in. Lesson 3. Never stop learning. Even the masters know this. The moment you think you've arrived, growth begins to fade. True talent is restless. It pokes, questions, experiments. It doesn't cling to the old trophies. It keeps searching for new mountains, new puzzles, new ways of being alive in the craft. Lesson 4. Reflect and adapt. Growth doesn't just come from doing, it comes from noticing. Looking back, asking, what worked? Where am I weak? What can I celebrate? And what must I change? Reflection turns repetition into refinement. Without it, we move in circles. With it, we evolve. So sustaining growth isn't about chasing big leaps. It's about honoring the small daily rhythm, aligning your habits, shaping your environment, staying curious, and reflecting deeply. The truth is this: mastery is not a destination, it's a river, and the ones who sustain growth don't stop to build monuments along the shore. They step back in every day and keep moving with the current. So let's do the same. Let's tend our garden, let's keep our river flowing, let's stay in motion, because sustaining growth isn't just how talent lasts, it's how we last. And here, dear friends, we fold the last page of the little book of talent. 52 whispers of wisdom gathered like pearls, each one teaching us that talent is not a mystery reserved for the chosen few, but a fire that every heart can kindle. We learned that practice is not just repetition, it is a dialogue with our own potential. That mistakes are not failures, but stepping stones. That focus, patience, and persistence are the secret companions of every great achiever. So, as you step away from this episode, remember, your journey of growth is not about giant leaps, but about small, steady steps, each one building upon the other, until skill transforms into art and effort becomes second nature. Let this book be a reminder that your mind, your hands, your soul are capable of more than you imagine. All it takes is to begin and to never stop. This was Guide to Reads podcast. If today's journey inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us your thoughts. Because here we don't just read books, we let them breathe into our lives. Until we meet again, keep growing, keep learning, and above all, keep your fire alive.